All right, everybody, welcome in. It is your girl, Miss Cat, your coach, accountability partner, and teacher. And tonight, just like any other night, I'm coming with that heat. I'm coming to teach you what you need to know. So tonight, we are talking about being seen, being heard, and getting paid, being visible. So to kick things off, I want to show you a message from someone that I think is very authoritative in the space. A lot of times people feel like you can't really discuss or talk about social media, you know what I'm saying, and things of that capacity if you're not an influencer, for the lack of better terms. So I said, let me kick things off with somebody who is. So give me 1 second. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to share this message from this individual. And first things first, before I share the screen, before I share the message, I want to let you guys know that for whatever reason, when I share my screen with sound, I'm not able to talk with it, so I won't be able to say anything. I'm gonna just let it say what it's gonna say, and then I'll stop the share. Okay, so give me 1 second. Let me go ahead and get that on.
To speak in front of 16,000 people at
Okay,
20
I can hear now.
because of a video that only had 50 views. Let me say that again. 16,000 people at 20 years old of a video that had 50 views. So back in 2018, I uploaded this random video to YouTube. No strategy, just vibes, not any fancy camera, it's just me speaking, right? 2 weeks later, I got an email asking me to do a keynote at Wembley Arena for a youth empowerment event. 16,000 people would be in that stadium. I was shocked. And I had to ask them, how did you even find me? And they sent me the link to that YouTube video that only had 50 views. And that's when I realized something. Guys, stop obsessing over the numbers. Stop waiting for the views. Stop obsessing over going viral. Because you don't need everyone to see you. You just need the right one to see. I'm going to say this again. You don't need everyone to see you. You just need the right one to see you. All it takes is one person, the right person, to watch your content, one decision maker, one person that can give you that open door to change the entire trajectory of your life. And I can tell you this confidently, from that one speaking engagement, my speaking career changed for the better. So I'm going to say this again because someone needs to hear this. Okay, I got booked to speak in front of 16,000 people off a YouTube video that only had 50 views. I got booked to speak in front of.
All right. So the point of this is we not trying to go viral, right? We just trying to get more visible. Okay. So let's jump into it because you know, I think we got the message. All right. So like I said, the core message today is your posting is not the problem. Posting without a strategy, that's what the problem is. So the goal tonight is not to teach you how to go viral, it's to teach you how to become recognizable, how to build trust, how to create intentional content, and how to turn visibility into money. Okay. And I don't know how I forgot the why in money, but how to turn your visibility into money, because some of y'all are posting every single day and still invisible, not because your business is bad, not because people don't need what you do. It's because your content has no assignment. And shame on those that are listening in tonight that don't even post at all. Okay. So this is going to show you, that not only is posting what you should be doing, but you need to be posting with strategy. Okay. So visibility without a strategy is just noise. Just because you have followers, that doesn't mean that you have clients. Okay. Busy posting does not mean effective marketing. So just because you're posting stuff on your socials, that doesn't mean you're doing effective marketing either. Okay. If people can't quickly understand who you help, what the problem is that you solve, and why they should trust you, they're going to keep scrolling. Okay. So why most people's content don't convert is because most of you guys are posting flyers, you're posting logos, you're posting motivational quotes, random Canva graphics, support my business posts, okay? But they are not creating connection, okay? As we know, people do business with whom? Whom they know, they like, and they trust, okay? So you posting random Canva graphics or these new graphics that y'all get off of Chat GPT, that ain't what it is, okay? So tonight, I'm going to show you guys how to do this the right way, okay? Because people that I have seen, they create their content from their perspective instead of the customer's perspective, okay? When people are going to your page, they're asking, how can you solve my problem? Can I trust you? Do you understand me as a client? Right? Are you active right now? And why should I choose you? And the thing is, are you active right now? That the reason why that's important, because if I go to your page and there's no activity, then to me, that means you're not doing business. Okay. So at the end of the day, guys, you have to have activity on your socials. Okay. So let me give you an example of some of the weak posts that a weak post that somebody I seen on someone's social. Now accepting new clients. Okay, so let's talk about something better. If you're overwhelmed trying to figure out how to structure your business, this is exactly what I help people do. You see how the difference in that post?
Yes.
Okay. So now people understand the problem, the solution, and the value of what I do. Okay. So when you're posting, you need to use hooks. Okay. I'm I can assure you that 99.99% of those that are watching, versus whether you're live or on the replay, right? Most of you guys do not consider hooks when you guys are posting your content, and that should stop immediately. Okay. So, with that being said, hooks are what stop the scroll. People are not, they're not scrolling away because they hate your business. They're scrolling because they're distracted, they're overstimulated, they're overwhelmed, and your content didn't immediately tell them this is for you. Okay. So when someone lands on your page, your content should speak to them. We talked about yesterday your client avatar, right? It should speak to your client avatar so clearly that literally it's saying this is for you. Okay. So there are two types of hooks that you need to think about when you're posting your content. Okay. So you have verbal hooks. Those are the hooks that those are the things that you actually say verbally. So a strong hook usually creates curiosity, it identifies a problem, it challenges a belief, it promises some kind of result, and it makes people feel seen. That's what a verbal hook does. Okay. So there's different type of verbal hooks. You have problem hooks. For example, your content isn't bad, it's confusing, right? You might hear something like you're posting like a creator instead of a CEO. All right. So that's an example of a way that you start your video that hooks that person in. Wait, what is she talking about? This is why people watch your content and never buy. Wait, what? Let me tap in and see what she's saying, right? There's curiosity hooks. I learned this the hard way. Nobody talks about this part of entrepreneurship. These are hooks that make people curious and want to know more. If I started my video and I said, hey, can I be honest with you? The first thing you probably like, honest about what, right? So these are the way that you hook your people in. Then you have contrarian hooks. These are things that you say that go against the grain of what people usually believe. So contrary to what most people think, this is what I'm going to say, right? So motivational quotes are not a marketing strategy. Okay? You don't need viral content to make money. Most people think that you need to go viral, right, to make money on social media. So if I say you don't need viral content to make money, now I'm going against the grain. And a lot of times people want to tap in because you're not just saying the same old thing that everybody else is saying, right? You're going against the grain and making your own, statement. So this is a good way to hook people in. Hopefully this is helping tonight. Okay.
It is. It is.
Awesome. Awesome. Then you have result hooks. So this is how I turn my content into clients. All right. How to make your page look trustworthy. I'm telling them straight up and down, this, if you do this, this is how you get this particular result. Okay. So again, one part of your video is the hook. And again, those hooks can be verbal and also visual. So let's talk about visual hooks, because that's what people see when they actually look at your video. Because platforms like Instagram, this is a visual interruption platform. People are just scrolling, right? So what is happening on the screen that's going to make them stop the scroll? Okay, because people decide whether to stay before your content even really starts, right? It's something that they do on the screen that makes them tap in, right? So most of the time, that's quick movement. Maybe you're walking into the frame. Maybe you're pointing at something, opening your laptop, you're typing, doing something dramatic, right? These are movements that you can make on your, visually, that keep people engaged. Maybe you have big text on the screen, pattern interruptions where it's zooming in. It might pause quickly, right? Quick cuts back and forth, okay? Maybe it's the environment you're in. Maybe you're in a very busy airport. What is she doing in the airport, right? Maybe you're in a coffee shop acting like you're whispering. You get what I mean? Maybe you're packing up your products. So there's different things that you can do, because as we know, people are naturally curious, right? So if you start your video in the middle of a busy subway, right, then it kind of just sparks the curiosity. All right. So some of the common hook mistakes, people do these long intros. Hey guys, it's me again. I'm here. No, get to the point. People have microwave popcorn. You get what I'm saying? ADHD, and attention spans. So get to the point faster. You don't have to start with your name. Hey guys, we know who you are. We're on your page, right? So start with something catchy. For example, if your content isn't converting, this is probably why. You see how that hook you right in, okay? So learn how to make content that hooks the person right in, not just with your words, but also with your actions on the screen. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at some examples of this in full action. Hold on one second. Give me 1 second.
This is a relatable hook.
Remember when the nail salon was an enjoyable experience?
And this is a realization hook.
Something I think not a lot of people realize is how smart you have to be in order to be funny.
Now, number 3 is a call-out hook.
You don't have a willpower problem. You have a slot machine in your pocket, and you never stood a chance.
And number 4 is a personalized hook.
There is something that you do better than 99% of people.
And finally, we have a self-deprecating hook.
I don't want to sound like a boomer, but I am so sick and tired of people using...
Each one of these is a great way to stand out as a creator, no matter what topic you have. But if you want to truly 10x your results, you'd mix them with visual hooks as well. So comment grab below to get access to my hook library, which has tons of visual and verbal hooks for you to mix together. Now let me know in the comments which one is your favorite.
This girl is solving all of your hook problems.
This is a hook. This is a hook.
This is a hook. This is a hook. This is a hook. This is a hook.
For every entrepreneur who overthinks the hook, this is for you. The hook isn't about putting some extravagant sentence together to instantly psychology manipulate your audience and do all of this extra crazy stuff. No. A hook is simply an interest peak. Can you pique the interest of your audience? Can you catch the interest of your audience? This video simply demonstrated that retention by action can hook in your audience. Meaning this, you coming into frame just how I did at the beginning of this video is a hook. If you decide to hold up something while you're talking, that is a hook. Movement is a hook, and if you can just hook in your audience, then you will win 10 times out of 10. Stop overthinking your hooks, please. Now, if you need some verbal hooks to pay attention to, read the caption. I guarantee you haven't seen half of them before. Anyways, peace out. Thankfully, later.
Start your video sliding into the camera. Start your video taking the camera for a walk. Start your video recording from a high angle. Start your video picking up your phone. Start your video rolling down the window. There's so many ways to grab attention without using a ton of effort. So save this video and follow for more content tips and ideas.
No one talks about this, but this might trigger you, but here's the truth about nobody wants to admit this, but if this offends you, never, ever, ever, if I had to start over, this will change how you see. This is why you're still. Here's a secret you wish you knew sooner. Comment hooks and I'll send you a list. No one talks about this, but this might trigger you, but.
All right. So basically what I wanted you guys to see is pure examples of what we were just talking about. So was that helpful? Did that help in any way?
It did.
Okay, perfect. So let me get back to it. All right. So we talked about the visual hooks and also the verbal hooks. So those were some examples. So what you have to keep in mind is that you do need to bring energy. You don't need to be with that fake influencer energy, but you do need confidence, you need clarity, and you need intention. Okay. Now let's talk about the 4 types of content that every business needs. Okay. So when you are thinking about the content that you're posting, you need authority content, right? What the purpose of authority content is to help you build trust. Okay. So examples of authority content are tutorials, tips, educational posts, how-to content, so on and so forth. Okay. If all of your content is promotional, people feel sold to. Okay. If your content teaches, then people actually lean in. Okay. So again, I'm not suggesting that every single thing that you post is authority content. What I'm saying is you need to have a mixture of all of these forms of content that I'm explaining. So number 1, authority. Okay. Number 2, you want to have relatable content. Okay. Because again, people do business with whom they know, like, and trust. This is what helps you build connection. All right. So for example, some lessons that you learn, some behind the scenes content, some real moments, honest experience. People want to see that you are a human being. Okay. Relatable doesn't mean that you're oversharing your trauma online. Your story. Now, let me just say this. If you are sharing something traumatic, make sure that it ties into a point. Make sure that it's building connection with that person and bringing you credibility. Okay. But you should have authority content. You should have relatable content and engagement content. This type of content trains people to interact with you. Okay. So maybe you put up some questions, some fill in the blank, put a unpopular opinion on your page, see how people respond, right? Because engagement tells the platform that people actually care about what you're posting. Okay. So you want to have some engagement content in there as well. And then, because we're all entrepreneurs and we're all business owners and we're trying to get paid, right? We need conversion content that's actually going to get you paid, right? So what examples of conversion content, those would be offers, testimonials, right? Call to action, urgency posts, okay? You don't need to beg people to buy, but you do need to clearly tell people how they can do business with you. So there's a difference between, please, join this or buy this. There's a difference when I see on your page every other post is telling me to buy something or join something versus, hey, this is how you can work with me. If you're tired of dealing with XYZ, this is how you can get a solution to that. Does that make sense?
It does.
Awesome. Okay. So we want to do our content with intention. Okay. So this is the before you post method. Okay. So before you post, you want to ask yourself, what is this post supposed to do? So for me, sometimes I post stuff that I literally just post for virality's sake. Like I post it because it's something trending and I want people just to laugh and get a kiki out of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I post stuff and I'm like, hey, I want them to actually do something. I want them to take action. Sometimes it's educational, right? But before you post that piece of content, you have to understand what the post is for and what it's supposed to do. Who is the post for? Because if you're posting to your client avatar, call that person out. Hey sis, I know you're tired struggling with that business, right? And when they see the post, what do you want them to do? Because depending on what you want them to do, you need to be clear on what you want them to do. Hey, if you like this, share this. If you want more, DM me, right? You have to tell them straight up and down what you want them to do after they see it. All right. So if you're posting content and you ask yourself those questions and you don't know, you just wanted to post something, that's the problem. Okay. So until you get good at doing this, make sure that you're asking yourself those questions beforehand. Okay. These are the visibility mistakes that most entrepreneurs make. Mistake number one is being inconsistent. And I'm like your mama on this one. Do as I say and not as I do. Okay. Because there are times, even with myself, that I'm super consistent and sometimes that I'm not consistent, right? But the reality is when you disappear for weeks, then you suddenly want support, people looking at you like you crazy. Okay. Trust is built through repeated visibility. All right. Let me say that one more time. Trust is built through repeated visibility. All right. So make sure that you keep that top of mind when you say social media ain't for me, because it ain't for you. It's for your clients. All right. Mistake number two, Jesus Christ. It is so annoying to see people try to sound all extra professional instead of just being themselves. First of all, depending on, the industry that you're in, some people have very complicated, vernacular and things that deal with their industry. If people are confused, they're not going to buy. So even though you think that you sound smart, if you're confusing your client, they're not going to buy. So make sure that even if you have very difficult terms that explain what you do or what your business is, remember that simple converts better. So figure out how to break it down where people can clearly understand. Okay. Now, the mistake number three is posting like a consumer instead of a CEO. What do consumers do? They just scroll randomly. So what are we doing? We're posting randomly, just random stuff, randomly, no rhyme or reason. So make sure that you're posting intentionally. And also, mistake number four is being afraid to repeat yourself. Keep in mind that due to the algorithm, your audience did not see every single thing that you posted. So it's okay to repost something and do it again. Repetition builds brands. All right. So here's a simple content strategy that you can, potentially follow. Not saying that you have to, but just giving an example, of a weekly framework that you can, build into your pages, right? And I just want to leave you guys with this thought. Remember the money conversation. Visibility creates opportunities. Visibility creates partnerships. Visibility creates referrals. Visibility creates speaking engagements. Visibility creates trust. Visibility creates clients. So people cannot support what they never see. Let me say that again. People cannot support what they never see. So again, you do not need to become an influencer to make money online. You just need clarity, consistency, and content with intention.